Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aura's VTH Virtual Town Halls. It's so exciting to see everyone here in 2022. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday, and this 2022 is set to a great start. I wanted to host a group of panelists today that can talk to us about rooftop solar. And at the state of California, a couple of years ago, we passed SB 100, which is our 100% renewable energy policy that we have at the state level. Here in Los Angeles, we are also committed to get to 100% renewable energy, but there's a growing sentiment against rooftop solar, spearheaded by some organizations that we will get to learn more about, and that are really harming communities and harming an industry that is going to help us, or that is helping us fight climate change. So for that, I invited three incredible people that are experts on this subject, and I want to invite you to also join the conversation by posting your questions in the comments or your commentary in the comments. This is the one time where we get to be virtually together and safely together and have a conversation about this important topic, which is rooftop solar. So I want to welcome Bernadette del Chiaro, who is the executive director of CALSSA, who is the association, the California Association of Solar and Battery here in California. So thank you so much for coming. And she's going to be telling us a little more about this issue. I also want to introduce Igor Tregub, who, there he is. Hi. And he is our environmental caucus chair for the California Democratic Party, doing really amazing work. Him and I got the opportunity to work together, introducing the end of taking fossil fuel money from our party. And that's much on the making. I don't have exciting news on that front yet, but we hope that we'll see the Democratic Party, the largest Democratic Party in the country, the California Democratic Party, really taking a stand and not taking any fossil fuel money officially anymore. And I want to also introduce Crystal Huang, who is the CEO, the executive director of the People Power Solar Cooperative. And she's based in the Bay Area. And her and I actually have had some clubhouse conversations around this topic. And I'm excited to see her here. And I'm so excited that everybody is also here watching this panel. And I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us, Aura. It's great to be here.
So I want to start with people that have no idea what's going on solar. And I get these conversations all the time, randomly in places, in the museum and restaurants, when I get to talk to people. And they ask me, well, why not? Why don't we have more solar everywhere, especially in Los Angeles or in Southern California, where we have infinite resource of solar energy? So Bernadette, tell us what's going on, what's under attack right now, and walk us through the process that we're going through right now, or rooftop solar is going through right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, let me step back and just say solar energy is California's great success story. We have built over 1.3 million miniature solar power plants throughout the state, and in every community in the state has people who have invested in renewable energy. And this adds over, 5 nuclear power plants worth of clean energy to our grid. It's really significant. And along with that clean energy has come jobs and businesses and economic development and opportunity. We have over 1,500 small businesses in California that go out and fan out across the state every single day to build this clean energy future, one roof at a time. And with them come jobs. And we've got over 50,000 workers who are proud of what they do every day, bringing clean air and clean energy to our state, and increasingly with batteries, reliability. So that's the backdrop. And what is at stake right now is the future of all of that. What the utilities like Edison, Sempra down in San Diego, and Pacific Gas and Electric They have natural gas as their middle name. And what they are trying to do is kill this market because it really threatens their profits. It threatens their business model. And so I'm happy to dive into the details of what they're proposing, but in very, very short, simple terms, they are working to make solar energy and batteries twice as expensive as they are today. That will harm the market overall, tank any efforts at making solar affordable for middle and working class families. And it's going to threaten all of those jobs and all of that economic opportunity that is as small d democratic really as you can get. So that's what's at stake. It's a massive epic fight. And despite the backdrop of California's commitment to clean energy, the power of these utilities, the largest utilities in the country, is not to be belittled. And that's why we find ourselves in this situation, fighting for our lives in the state of California.
Yeah, absolutely. And the main issue right now is that there has been an incentive given to folks to adopt to solar, which I think is the most. I mean, we incentivize the fossil fuel industry so much. Why wouldn't we incentivize, clean energy? So this fee is something that wants to be imposed, or also the incentive want to take it away. So can you share more about like the numbers and the finances on this so that people can get a real picture of what's going on?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Net metering is what's at stake. Net metering is, for those who don't know it, it's a very simple, very effective, a powerful policy to incentivize and encourage people to invest in rooftop or distributed solar. Basically, what net metering does is allow you to generate your own energy and use it on site, and then any excess gets shipped back into the grid, used by your neighbor, and you get a bill credit. That bill credit then counts against your evening energy usage or your nighttime energy usage, and it makes the investment pay for itself in a short period of time. What the utilities are proposing and pushing, and what the Public Utilities Commission has so far in a proposed decision that's not yet final, is to side with the utilities and basically do two things that ruin the economics of solar. One is slash the value of those credits 80% overnight. Second is, in addition to that, so in addition to making solar energy less valuable than it is today, overnight by 80%, they want to charge solar families, solar homes around the state a monthly fee that adds up to almost $700 a year that you can't get out of. So it's a penalty fee placed on your home because you have solar panels on it. And the concept behind it is so hard to even get your head wrapped around. It is basically punishment for not buying electricity from the utility. It's sized to basically say, we expect you to buy energy from us. If you don't, we're going to claw some of that money back from you and charge you a fee you can't get out of. It is illegal. It is off the charts, and we're opposed to both of these elements. Together, these elements make solar. Takes 20 years for a consumer to pay their system off. Nobody's going to go solar in their right mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see someone asking here on Facebook, how will this affect the ones that already have solar? So will this be retroactive to people that already have solar as well?
Excellent question. One of the other elements of this proposed decision is they are looking at making this retroactive at the 15-year mark. So right now, solar users are grandfathered in for 20 years, the 20-year life of their system. If their system lasts longer, they are forced onto whatever is the net metering tariff at the time they hit the 20-year mark. The Public Utilities Commission has proposed backing that up 15 years, basically clawing back thousands of dollars from consumers who frankly were the early adopters and spent a lot of money to go solar back in 2006 or 7. So it's ruining, it's changing the rules of the game on consumers after this very same commission voted 5 years ago to lock that net metering contract in for 20 years. So it's really unfathomable to me that the state is even considering doing that, but that is part of it. Let me say one last thing, and I know you want to move on. People that have solar today need to also pay attention, even if the grandfathering is at the 15-year mark. because this will be your successor tariff. This will be, and so this is actually, we're all in this together as we fight for the future of clean energy.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for that, Bernadette. And I guess I want to ask next, who is behind this, this policy that I was telling you earlier that has more lives than a cat? It just keeps returning. There is every year I hear, or every 6 months, I hear something new about another attack to solar, another like we're gonna constrict it. And at a time where we have our scientists have told us that we have barely 10 years to address climate change with the urgency that it deserves or it needs. It doesn't sound to me like at the state level and legislators and people pushing for this are really thinking about that. They're not taking this very seriously. So I want to ask Igor if you can take us through who is behind, all this, resuscitating these policies back and giving them life and continuing attacking solar. Who is behind this? If you can, paint a picture for us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aura. And it's the investor-owned utilities because they already make a guaranteed profit of 8 to 10% a year based on long lead transmission lines. It's the same type of transmission lines that you may have heard about in the context of the Dixie Fire, the second largest fire in California, and other wildfires where sparks from those transmission lines have caused those fires. But instead of investing in long-term maintenance of those transmission lines so that lives and livelihoods can be protected, instead, they have put a lot of those profits back into CEO compensation, into, frankly, a PR campaign, a very glossy PR campaign where they are now co-opting the whole premise behind equity and what it means. They're co-opting the premise behind what good jobs mean. But that's where it's coming from. The utilities don't want to see any more distributed energy. They do not want to see any more rooftop, local, or community solar because it cuts into their ability to make even a greater level of profit every year. I will add, and I can say this coming from the Eastern Europe, there is a Potemkin village of different organizations that claim to be on the side of equity, but 2/3 of them are funded by investor-owned utilities. And I'm not making that up. You can take a look at a recent Sammy Watt article and Boiling Point that came that actually did research about the funding stream. But
the LA Times, yeah.
Yeah, there's not a single environmental justice organization that I'm aware of that supports what is going on. I think that's really important to mention. There is one environmental organization, the National Renewable Defense Council, which has actually been referred to by one of the utilities as their surrogate. But on the other side, the side of the good fight that we're fighting right now for the ability for everyone to have access to clean, renewable energy, to democratically produced energy, there are over 700 organizations of every stripe, environmental organizations, environmental justice organizations, housing affordability organizations, housing affordability nonprofits, community leaders, elected officials, the Democratic Party delegates. And that is what needs to be said, because oftentimes you get these articles that say one side says this, the other side says that. And really, if you just look at the depth and breadth of who is part of the Save California Solar Coalition, it is an enormous list, but that is what we're up against. It's truly the power of the people against big money. It is a David and Goliath battle, but
Yeah.
I am firmly optimistic that as long as we continue to do what we need to be doing in the next month together, and we'll talk about what those actions are, we are going to win this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, because I feel that people sometimes don't understand what is at stake, as Bernadette shared with us, but also who's behind that. And I think it's important to know that to understand that it's not on the best interest financially for especially gas companies and utility companies that have not really made the commitment to adopt to 100% rooftop solar or 100% solar yet. So that's something that we as a community need to continue organizing and fighting for. And for that, I want to ask Crystal, who is an incredible, love her organization so much, because it's really taking power back to the people. And as we're talking about energy and power, I want her to tell us a little bit about who she is, her organization, and also to tell us what's her take in how this will affect her community and her organization and the people that she's been organizing, if this ever takes place.
Thank you, Aura. Yes, People Power Solar Cooperative basically create tools and resources to enable everyone in California to participate in energy transition as a community. So when we're looking at climate change and the lack of climate action in our country right now, this is really rested upon the power struggle of profit over people. This is not a fight about fossil fuel versus renewable energy, because investor-owned utilities are more than happy to have renewable energy, but they want themselves to own it. They want themselves to have control about it. And so when we are talking about things like microgrids, so we're talking about small grids with solar and battery, or just energy generation and battery, utilities are pushing for it, but they want to make sure they have control over it instead of communities having control over it. So when we're looking at the net energy metering debate, it's very confusing for a lot of people when we're really talking about energy, which is something that for more than 100 years, all of us are being told, just pay your bills and sit back and don't worry about what's happening in the back. And when we're looking at the unfolding of climate disaster, we realize we need to be able to do something. And right now, the debate is focusing on something so technical, so complicated, so political. What is net metering? And the debate is always concentrated around money. Who's moving the money to whom? And this is a solar company versus utility fight. It is not. This is just a bunch of front, that debate that's being put forth by the people in power to make sure that we have no idea what's happening in the back end. They're using equity as a backdrop, as mentioned many times at this point, co-optation of equity, but really taking our power to live is what they're trying to do. So this is really resting upon power and control. Every time at People Power Solar Cooperative, even though we have the word solar in our cooperative name, we'd always talk about power. When people hear about power, they said, yeah, PG&E, we just need to figure out how to make PG&E stop burning down our state. We just need to make our investor-owned utility to stop, but we don't know how. What can we do? Please help us figure out what to do. That's a question people have. And the question here is, how can I have control of my community so I don't have to sit here and wait for this big company to steal my money and burn my communities down and kill my people, not just through fire, but environmental pollution? So this is a key question about power and control. I wanted to invite everyone to think about this, not just rooftop solar, but this is about our ability to have determination to have power generated in our own home and have control over it. Bernadette mentioned 1.3 million miniature power plant on our rooftops. If we can have control in our own community, it changes everything. So when we're talking about rooftop solar, it's really more than just solar panel on rooftop. I really want to encourage people to think about it as a community having power where we live, and we can actually start talking about what having control looks like. And PG&E wants to stop that. So when we're moving away from fossil fuel, people can continue to argue about jobs, but we are talking about so many jobs in the solar industry. There's so much job being created, so much opportunity, so much real things happening. But the investor-owned utilities are confusing us. So we have to be controlled by them, especially low-income communities and environmental justice communities.
Yeah, and that's such a great point, and I want to open it up for everyone here in the panel to talk about who's really going to be affected by this, policy if it changes. So, we're looking at generally people of color, low income, are the last to adopt. Sadly, we are yet to crack the code, even though we know about equity. We talk about equity, and low income folks, renters, people that that don't have a traditional solar roof or a stream, are really going to be affected by these changes. So when we talk about, well, why places that have most pollution have not adopted to solar. So I want you to think again that all these fights around keeping solar and keeping it affordable is really affecting people like me, that look like me, and young professionals that maybe are putting their money together to buy their first home and want to also adopt and get solar. So all these people. So I want to open it up for us to have a conversation about, how is this affecting our communities? And so I don't know who would like to take on this first part, but what in your take, how is this going to really affect us in the progression to adopt more solar and to get our state to be completely 100% solar at some point?
Let me jump in, Auda, because I think it's a great question. I just want to add to what Crystal just said. It was such an excellent summary. I could not agree more that this is the thing that's unique about consumer solar. What's unique about it, unlike any other clean energy technology, is that it is accessible to the consumer themselves. So it creates this different dynamic within the political conversation that's unlike wind, large-scale solar out in the desert, other forms of renewable energy, which are an important part of us getting to our climate change goals. But this one brings in this X factor, and that X factor is you are basically cutting a lot of profit out of the utility. And it's control. Just as Crystal said, it is about control. And when you add a battery to the equation, you are giving consumers that much more control and independence from the utility, and they are very threatened by that. So I just want to underscore that. But let me also just say it very, very stark terms. If the PUC goes in the direction that the utilities have them going right now, unless the governor steps in and his new appointees and corrects course, we are going to turn the clock back on all of our progress on clean energy to a point in which only what I used to call the Malibu millionaires, way back in 2005, when we were fighting to get this market off the ground, it was only available for the Malibu millionaires, as we said it. And no offense to our, good friends in Malibu, but we obviously are not going to solve our problems off of small percentage of consumers going solar. Only the wealthy are going to invest in this technology if the commission goes forward with anything close to what's been put on the table. And so what is at stake then, to your question, is forget about shutting down the once through cooling plants in Los Angeles and cleaning up our polluted communities along the coast. We're going to be continually relying on those power plants because we need to build rooftop solar everywhere in order to move off of dirty fossil fuel power plants. So forget about doing that. So our frontline communities, we're going to abandon you, and we're going to abandon all of our promises to shut those power plants down now. We're going to strip control and access to clean energy, affordable energy bills, and reliability for everybody, and especially those who are least able to make these kinds of investments. And then the third is the solar industry. A lot of people don't understand this. They think it's all, Elon Musk. And there's you won't get at me saying anything bad about some of my member companies. But frankly, it is not all about the big companies. 80% of my members, I have 700 business members under the California Solar and Storage Association, 80%, and they do 80% of the work, by the way, are small businesses with under 100 employees. Yeah. This is the pathway to economic opportunity for people who would never have the opportunity to break in to the monopoly utility structure. These are small businesses. Ken Wells is a great example right there in Los Angeles. He's on our board of directors, head of O&M Solar, based in Compton. He comes from Compton. He started up a solar business in Compton. He hires out of Compton. He is building tremendous clean energy roofs right there in the Los Angeles area every single day, giving back to his community. And he is doing it because of policies like net metering. And so for us, you don't get me started. PG&E and Edison and Sempra saying that they're doing this push to make solar more expensive on behalf of environmental justice communities. I mean, this is like, to quote Shakespeare, the devil citing scripture. Okay, this is like the opposite. They're doing the big lie. They're saying something to distract us and to confuse us and to get us off track. But Crystal's clear-eyed about this. Igor's, we're all clear-eyed. We need to make solar more affordable, not less. We need to make batteries more affordable, not less. We need to put our foot on the pedal when it comes to clean energy, not slow things down.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that.
And adding on to that is resiliency. When we're talking about not just property owners to be able to go solar, we're talking about renters or people who cannot go solar for a variety of reasons. What happens when there's power shut off? PSPS, they call it public safety power shut off. We call it profiting shareholder power shut off. It's a way for the shareholders to maintain their shareholder profit without actually protecting us and doing the job that they are being set out to do. So what do we do when they are putting out this shut off to protect their shareholders? Nothing, because they will not allow us to do it, because they will make it unaffordable for people to put power plant in a clean energy power plant in their own communities to do these things. And they're literally leaving us to die as they create situation to kill us. Situations from their dirty power plant, to the fact that they're extracting so much wealth from our communities, to the fact that they're shutting our power to live, they're polluting our air with wildfires, all the way to just climate change because they profited off of dirty energy that created climate change. So we're really talking about resilience and our community's ability to live. And everyone who breathes air and needs electricity to live will deeply be impacted by this. This is not just about homeowners being able to go solar and how much money is being moved around. This is about power and control and our ability to live.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
And if I can just add, and first of all, echo what Crystal and Bernadette both said. Absolutely. I mean, that is one of the reasons that the Save California Coalition is a very broad coalition, which includes renters as well. Think about it. There is a growing number of adopters of renewable energy that are renters, but there are still millions of renters that are unable to do so because they're constrained by what PG&E and Sempra and San Diego Gas and Electric are trying to do. No one should have to be put in a position where they have to choose between paying their next month's rent and paying their utility bills. That Absolutely. Is why the California Democratic Renters Council, the Berkeley Tenants Union, which I'm involved with, a number of renters' rights organizations have joined dozens upon dozens of affordable housing nonprofits to mention that this is the wrong way to go. And just to break this down a little more, the CPUC, under this proposed decision, has said that, we're just going to throw money at you. The communities that are the least among us, we'll just throw $150 million a year over 4 years to quote unquote expand solar access to low income households. By the way, it also leaves out a lot of categories of households that are truly low income, but just don't qualify towards the CPUC definitions of what low income means. So they're just throwing money at a problem over 4 years, but there's no specific plan to do it. And for renters specifically, right now, lower income renters who are able to participate in solar incentive programs like SOMA, the Solar and Multifamily Affordable Housing, they may temporarily keep existing rules, but the way this proposed decision is going, it's likely changes are going to come even for them. And not all low-income affordable housing projects qualify for these funds anyway, which leaves gaps in solar adoptions around the state. CALSSA actually submitted a proposal to expand community solar. The CPUC short shrifted that proposal. It said nothing about it. There are no provisions for community-based or cooperative solar projects under this proposed decision. And so on the whole, this is a typical central planning type of way to do solar. It's not based on community input. This proposed decision is wrong and needs to be defeated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we can go a lot of different places. I also would like to talk about what can people do right now to fight for solar, for rooftop solar, to fight for net metering. I'm gonna put here on the screen a website that people can go to and check out some of actions that they can do. But if you guys maybe can share what are some of the practical things that people can do to fight this. Much about me wanting to bring you on is because there's a lot of people that don't even know that this is happening. And it becomes a very kind of niche, very enclosed fight. And as Crystal mentioned earlier, this is about fighting for our own sovereignty, autonomous power to influence corporations, utilities that are so intertwined with our everyday lives. They provide our power, in a lot of ways. They also provide even our water, and how we get also collectively a say to say, well, this isn't okay with us. So what are some of the things that people can do to support these efforts and to fight for more rooftop solar and save, net metering?
I'll jump in real quick. So number one thing people can do is join one of our 2 rallies tomorrow. We're going to be holding what we think will be the largest demonstration for solar power in U.S. history tomorrow in downtown Los Angeles at Grand Park and Performance Plaza, and then at the Civic Center Plaza in downtown San Francisco. We're meeting, this is solar workers, this is solar consumers, this is anybody who wants to see clean air and energy democracy and justice. Come meet us down tomorrow at 11 in the morning. Both events are going to be at 11 in the morning. And come, we'll have, signs, we're going to have balloons, we're going to have, make a big show of this. And so we need more people. So come join us. If that's not doable for you, the other thing you could do, and you should do either way, is pick up the phone and make a call to Governor Gavin Newsom. I think the phone number is on the Solar Rights Alliance, which is an excellent partner in this whole effort. They represent the 1.3 million people with solar and the millions more that want to go solar in the future. So there's a phone number. Call Gavin Newsom. This is about him making sure that his legacy as a governor is one in which we continue our progress on clean energy and we continue to make energy more affordable and, as Crystal rightly pointed out, also reliable. So kind of the buck stops with him. We need him, voters and people to reach out to him right away.
Thank you. And who would like to share more about the rally tomorrow, especially here in Los Angeles or for whoever? I have a pretty broad audience. So if you are in San Francisco or in LA, tomorrow at 11 a.m., we'll see you. And LA is at Grand Park, which is across the street from City Hall. And in San Francisco is at the Civic Center, in San Francisco. But who wants to talk more about the rally? Share more info.
Show up. See you there. This is, if you feel like you're isolated here behind the screen, this is a moment we can come together and build power. Wear your mask. If you're a hard hat, where you have a hard hat, bring that too. We're going to show up together and really talk about what power means. This is more than just solar. This is our power to live. And this is your pocketbook. This is your ability to breathe air. This is your ability to have a safe future for the next generation, your children and your children's children. Please tell your friends about coming out and contacting the governor.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And if we want to call the CPUC, because ultimately they're the ones that have the power to decide what to do, and the governor, we talked about calling the governor. Uh, how do we do that? How many times that happens? I don't know, Igor, can you walk us through, if we want to call the CPUC, when do they meet and how do we call them or get
Yeah.
in touch with them?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. And yes, I will be at the SF rally tomorrow. I hope to see you all there. If you are on the LA side, we have a number of amazing speakers, including representatives from the Sunrise Movement coming. There are going to be a lot of folks there. It will be a true coalition of solar workers fighting for their livelihoods, people fighting for their lives. Please join. If you can't join us tomorrow in person, there is an opportunity to join us virtually to call into a CPUC meeting. This item is not on the agenda, but we are going to call anyway. And last time there was a CPUC meeting, there was 2 hours of public testimony, 1 minute apiece, which is all you have. You're given 1 minute. So please prepare your talking points in advance. We do have some suggested talking points you can mention, but you can call the CPUC number. There is a, we will drop that here.
Oh, here, I think in the solarrights.org
Yeah.
and the actions, you can find the information there. So that's
Take a
what's
look
on the
at
screen here.
solarrights.org. And the reason you want to look at solarrights.org and just go on that website, yep, I see it up now. If you scroll down about midway through that page, there is a compendium of actions you can take, and all of them are very quick. The CPUC one, depending on how many folks show up, you might be working in the background and having it on, but sign on to the CPUC meeting by 9:40 a.m. And then an operator will give you your line, so you will be queued up for your 1 minute of comment. All day, every day, well, at least once a day for the next 2 weeks. We should all be calling Governor Newsom. His number is 916-445-2841. And as was mentioned, he is under a lot of pressure right now. He's getting a lot of pressure from the community to do the right thing on this. And that's why at yesterday's press conference, he mentioned that there's still more work that needs to be done on this proposed decision. And he didn't specify what kind of work needs to be done, but that's where it's all up to us. We need to continue to call his office. We need to continue to contact him online. There is an online way to get in touch with him as well, and mention why this is important and why the proposed decision needs to be rejected, and what you would actually like to see the CPUC do so that we can continue to provide more and better access to the sun for all, not less.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank all of you so much for jumping into this kind of brown bag midday, conversation about solar. I hope to see everyone that is watching this live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m., whether it's in San Francisco or in LA. Please help our community grow, help this movement, continue. By sharing this video, by tagging your friends and letting them know that solar is under attack. And as always, to change everything, we really need everyone. So thank you so much, Bernadette. Any last thoughts? Thank you so much for being here. Igor, Crystal, thank you so much for all the work that you do. I see you. If you come to LA tomorrow, I will be there in the rally. And good luck in San Francisco tomorrow.
Thank you. I just want to end on a positive note. We are an amazing state. We are a state that is full of entrepreneurs, engineers, and dreamers. And we've dreamed up this technology. It is a California invention and success story. We can do so many things. We can solve our problems. We just need to understand the politics here and push past it. But we can do it if we work together. So I'm really optimistic. It's just a fight to get to where we need to go. And thank you again for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope everybody has a great day. And I see you all very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.